All right, come on in, 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 come on in. Let's talk about it. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Look, man, we got to talk about a couple of things, man. I kind of I addressed this the other day, and it's talking about Notre Dame. So look, come on in, everybody. We'll wait a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds for everybody to come on in. We're not live on Twitter. We're just live on YouTube. So come on in, everybody. We'll talk about it. This Notre Dame USC thing, I think a lot of people are getting things twisted. I think a lot of people are trying to put it all on Lincoln Riley and the USC program, and I think it's so much more to it than that. So come on in, everybody. We'll wait a couple of minutes for everybody to come on in and just kind of greet everybody. But look, man, I think it goes both ways. But what I do think Notre Dame should be forced into a conference. You guys know this is not a new stance. I carried this stance, and I've had this stance for a long, long time. And I feel like Notre Dame, like I stated the other day, I just kind of touched on it very briefly. I feel like Notre Dame wants their cake and eat it too, which is, to me, is wrong on so many fronts. So we'll talk about it, man. I'll wait for a couple of people to come on in. I did not put this on Twitter. One of the reasons why I think Notre Dame wants their cake and eat it too, they do have a deal with NBC, but who cares? I think they should be forced into a conference. What's up, family? I'm going to wait for some people to come on in, and we're going to kind of touch on this real quick. I want you guys to drop the comments, too, and tell me what you guys think as far as Notre Dame. Should they be forced into a conference? I personally, it always kind of, and I'm going to be honest with you, it bothers me that, to me, it's almost like they get put in a class of their own. And it's no disrespect to them as a program. It's no disrespect to them at all. But I feel like they're no better than anybody else. And I feel like eventually the way college football is going right now, I really believe with all my heart. Oh, I appreciate you. I'm going to get this up going. I really believe with all – let me greet some of these people real quick before we get going. But if Notre Dame joins the Big, that makes it harder. What do you mean that makes it harder? I don't get – how does that make it harder? We play Notre Dame every year. That's what here's the thing, though. I think if they join us, it makes more sense. If they join the Big Ten, check this out. You got the neighboring states. Well, you got the same state, Purdue, which is in Indiana right now, right? And I'm going to open this up. You guys can give me some feedback. You guys can tell me. They already have Purdue, which is in the same state, right? So you got Purdue. Then you got Northwestern, which is in Chicago, correct? Which is right there next to Indiana. Then you skip a state, I believe, if my geographical locations is right, you skip a state, Indiana, I think Kentucky, and then I think it's Ohio, right? So you got Ohio State right there. And of course, you always play USC to me. And then you got Michigan not too far away. It just makes more sense. Why would they go play in the ACC? And really, I don't think it serves them well, but I think they want their cake and eat it too. And to me, I've heard many people say this is a Lincoln Riley thing. Well, no, I actually like the fact. I think it's a travesty that this rivalry is going to end, and I think we should at least maybe meet them halfway. But we don't have to necessarily sign a long-term deal to Notre Dame like the way Clemson did. To me, they already had a contingency plan with Clemson already in the mix. The fact that they signed Clemson to a 12-year deal, to me, that speaks to says that Notre Dame is already, got a contingency plan. And, because the ACC essentially has them, kind of doing what they want to do. And if I'm not mistaken, all of the sports for Notre Dame are not in the ACC. So I just think they want their cake and eat it too, man. Let me read some of these comments. That makes it more competitive. But here's the thing. Notre Dame already, some people say, oh, Notre Dame made it to the playoffs. You know why Notre Dame makes it to the playoffs? Because they had a very, very easy schedule. Can you imagine? I want you guys to think about something. What if Notre Dame played our schedule this year? What if they played Michigan? What if they played LSU? What if they play all the teams that we played? And just go through that whole season? Minnesota, Wisconsin. How do you think Notre Dame would have came out? Right? So I think that, they have to have a tougher schedule. Sure, they got some schools that are good, such as Clemson, that's decent, and a couple other schools. But I think that Notre Dame is going to have to, man up and go have to jump. The college football as a whole, in my opinion, is already going towards power conferences. It's going to be two conferences for the most part. And you guys already know, and I brought this up to you guys a long time ago, as far as the alliance with the SEC and the Big Ten. We already know. I brought you several videos about this and talked about the alliance that the SEC and the Big Ten, and it's going to make it easy for each of those teams to get 4 teams in. We've talked about this in depth, and I talked about Notre Dame, how they're eventually going to be forced to go into a conference. Now this is coming back full circle. Like, this is nothing brand new that we talked about. So let me continue to greet some people here. What's up, Warrior? Since 04. What's up? Should join it. Notre Dame should join a conference. They are no better than for anybody else, and the NCAA should stop. Yeah, they're pandering to them, man. I totally agree. They're absolutely pandering to them, and to me, it just makes it. And that's why you guys remember me talking to you guys about the playoff team last year. How Notre Dame will probably be in the 5th spot, even though they did make it to the playoffs. That was based on their schedule. But I think now things are going to start tightening up with the fact that USC is not going to, because if they go by strength of schedule, you could go ahead and add a Paddle Puff team. Go and add a Mountain West team if that's what they want to do. But are they going to be able to maintain strength of schedule? And so to me, in my opinion, USC is really, look, they're calling them like they're calling they're going to be the ones that's going to control the shots. And so for them to make sure that they, stay even Steven here, they're giving them a 1-year deal. While I think they should go with at least meet them halfway through, at least maybe a 5-year deal. They don't have to go with the full 12. Soon the Trojans will take over. Absolutely. Notre Dame lost their season opener. Yeah. And so, they lost. I remember that game. And they lost against Northern Illinois. And so can you imagine if Notre Dame actually had a decent schedule? How much harder would that make it for Notre Dame if they had to go against somebody else other than, like USC did? USC really, people can say what they want. They had a gauntlet. Yes, Notre Dame beat Penn State in the regular season, but if you had to go back to back like the way USC did, I just think it'd make it that much more tougher for Notre Dame to come out with a winning record throughout the season. That's pretty much self-explanatory. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to really understand that. Fight on. And I'm gonna open this up here in a little bit. What happened with? I'm not. I think you is going. I think he's projected to Washington now. Malachi Lee, I'm not sure, man. I read something today where it says that he's out of it, but I'm not quite sure about that. You was going to Washington. They should just get rid of crystal balls. They are always, yeah. A lot of them are wrong. A lot of them put Malachi Lee in there. But we are looking good for Lee. No. I think we're officially out of it now. According to reports, somebody sent me something today that said we're out of it. Let me pull this up real quick. See if I can pull this up. Okay. So look, man, you guys drop the comments, man. You guys tell me what you think. I'm gonna invite some people in here. If you guys want to say a word, you're more than welcome. But here's my thing, and I was gonna save this video for tomorrow, but I had somebody tell me, hey, Jay, go live. So look, we're going live, man. If you guys don't have anything to say, we will shut it down. I'm gonna put the link in here, but I want to know what you guys think about Notre Dame. Should Notre Dame be forced into a conference? And I want to know what makes Notre Dame so special of a team that they get their, well, they've always had their independence, but I think the way things are going right now, why should we have to pander to them? Why should we have to submit to their ruling? And I read the article. You guys know I read part of the article from On3 earlier this week. Just did a 5-minute video, But my thing is that you know, we talked about Notre Dame wanting a 12-year extension. USC only wanted to extend it for 1 year. I stated on that video that we should try to maybe meet them halfway, go 5. But no, I think we absolutely shouldn't pander to them. And if we get off of this schedule, yes, I hate it from a historical standpoint. 1925 or 1926, this rivalry has been going on. Yes, I'm gonna absolutely hate it from a historical standpoint. But hey, you do what you got to do at this point. And no, it isn't Lincoln Riley. All the false narratives that's talking about, you got to think. This is we have a administration all the way in play. This is not just a Lincoln Riley decision. This is a decision as a whole. We're making moves the way everybody else is making moves. And if the SEC, the Big Ten, all have to play big time schedules, what makes Notre Dame so special? That's all I'm asking. We're all asking that right now. What makes them so special that they can get preferential treatment? Why was you crystal ball? I don't know. I didn't crystal ball them, but yeah, a lot of guys with crystal ball, man. Lee is not taking a visit, so we are out of that. Lee, you know, according to some reports today, I saw something that said Lee is out of it. Logan, this was earlier. Things have changed. Mark Koken says USC has decided to go in a different direction. So now Washington is a school for, hey, if that's what they're saying, hey, I guess that's what it is. USC needs to hurry up and find more. We have, do you guys realize, Joe, do you realize that we still have the #1 class in the country right now? And our class is a phenomenal class. We have all types of guys. We got elite guys in this class right now. Matter of fact, I just saw a post today, and I meant to put this up. But this is a post today that came from On3. Let me put it up real quick. I can't put it up, but I'm gonna tell you guys what it is. On3 says that, okay, most blue chip commitments thus far. The most blue chip commitments, those who are coming on, we're going to continue to talk about Notre Dame versus USC. Should Notre Dame be forced into a conference? I think so. And why does everybody in the country think that Notre Dame should get preferential treatment? We're talking about that. But real quick, to your point, Joe, right now, USC blue chip wise, and this was On3. I meant to put this up. I don't know if you guys can see this. I meant to put that up on the screen, but right now USC has the most blue chips in the country right now, according to On3, which doesn't make any sense to me because I think they got them at the #2 class right now. And if they got the most blue chips, that means that they should have the most, they should be the #1 class. 24/7 Sports has them as the #1, but for whatever reason, On3 doesn't have them. I don't get it. But they do have 17 blue chips. Notre Dame comes in second with 14. Texas A&M, Clemson, Ohio State, they all have 11. Penn State, Miami, as well as, forgive me, that's a little app I got that goes off. It's crazy. It's a Bible app that goes off and it's just going crazy. But Penn State, Miami, and LSU all have 8. So USC stands at the top as far as the blue chip. So, you know, I think a lot of people, they kind of get somewhat lost in the sauce, the media sauce, if you will. They kind of don't realize that USC is still dominating. We lost Xavier Griffin, but we're still dominating in recruiting right now. And the fact that we have the most 17, according to On3, and the fact that 24/7 Sports has us as the #1 class in the country, listen, it's still go time, man. It's still on and popping. It's still on and cracking. Lee will be setting up a USC visit. I don't know. I just saw a report today that said that Lee's out of it, man. Hey, what's going on? Let's see. There was a report that Lee is canceling his USC visit. Yeah, it looks that way. Why do they continue to go independent? College football is changing, and I'm telling you guys this, everybody that's coming on, Notre Dame should be and Notre Dame will be eventually forced. You guys hearing it from me first. They got the NBC deal. I told you guys this almost about a year and a half ago. I told you guys a year and a half ago when we saw things shifting when USC first went to the Big Ten that Notre Dame should go into the Big Ten. And those who are coming on late, I mentioned that, look, it only makes sense for them to go into the Big Ten. Why would the ACC make sense? It doesn't make any sense. I got the first caller. You guys click the link. The callers are coming in. Big Dog, Stefan, what's the word?
What's going on with you, USCJ, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. What you think about this Notre Dame, man? Should Notre Dame be forced to go into a conference?
I've been thinking they should have been jumped in with us or whatever. I feel like, you know what I mean? It made sense, you know what I mean? But I guess they want to still kind of like have they, you know, well, in a sense, have they cake and eat it too.
I've been saying it, yep.
Yeah, so I think, you know, that's and it's hurtful because it's like, dang, man, we've been playing them for so many years. It's almost 95 games or something like that. We played them, I think, something like that.
I think 2020. It started in 1926, and I think this will be 100 years coming up next year. I said on the video, a little 5-minute video. Yeah, so it's like almost 100 years, man.
Yeah, and then, you know, so much history there, man. So for us to have to, hopefully we can get something done, you know what I'm saying, whether it's last minute or not. But, you know, and then USC talking about a 1-year extension. But I'm like, on Notre Dame side with it, like, extended to 12 years, you know what I'm saying? The 12-year deal or whatever they asking for or whatever. But hopefully we can get a deal done, man, soon.
Yeah. Well, you know, if they don't, you know, and a lot of people, what's crazy is, I put the link in the chat. I'm putting it right here for those who are coming on. What's crazy is, why should USC, and I think a lot of people are accusing Lincoln Riley, but why should our hands be forced? I feel like Notre Dame's hands should be forced. And I think that they want their cake and eat it too. And I've been saying this for a long time. I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, I kind of mentioned this, that look, Notre Dame is no better than nobody else. It makes sense for them. They play against, they're right there in the same state as Purdue, and as well as, which is Indiana. They're not far from Ohio. They're right there next to, not far from Michigan. Why are they going to the ACC? They still want to. The ACC is one of the only conferences that's still going to give them their independence. You know, the SEC and the Big Ten are going through a gauntlet, but here they are losing against Northern Illinois, but they still getting the love.
Right. Somebody said the ACC might not be around too long. They're gonna end up, I guess, doing what the Pac-12 did and combine with somebody and end up doing a super. At the end of the day, what it looked like, it's gonna be like kind of like NFL, 2 leagues. Like you got the AFC and the NFC, and it's gonna be combined or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, I guess it's too many teams to try to even do that, but I don't know. I just heard a couple things where people saying they're trying to make super conferences, but I don't know what you think on that. Like, do you think they should do that? Just 2 power conferences or something like that?
Well, I think, and I kind of alluded to this. Ray, I see you. I'm coming to you in a minute. But I think here's what I think. I think that man, I forgot what I was about to say to you just now. Can you believe that?
Hey, it's all good, big dog.
My thought really just left me. But I think they should be forced to go into a conference. I think. What's the question again?
What I'm saying is, from what I was hearing, that they was trying to get 2 big super conferences where, you know, I guess they trying to get.
Yeah,
you know,
my thought came back to me. That's why. Yeah. Hey, so we kind of mentioned this. You remember I did a video about the SEC and the Big Ten having an alliance, that they're gonna have an interconference schedule. And it's going to be, you know, we already did it this year. We talked about the fact that we already kind of did it. We got a head start playing LSU this year. And so you know, the fact that it's going to be all across the conferences between the SEC and the Big Ten. And it's going to, you know, these automatic four bid teams. It's, you know, Notre Dame's going to be lost in the sauce anyway. But I think eventually it's going to go to that. That's what they're trying to make it. They're trying to, I believe they're trying to squeeze out everybody else. And that's why they're doing the interconference schedule. And I think the ACC is eventually, because I've already been hearing reports about teams like Miami, North Carolina, and a couple of other teams already looking, Florida State, seeking other place. So I think eventually it's gonna happen, man. They already screwed it up with college football.
We
Anyway.
we already lost. We already lost Stanford rivalry. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. We can't lose another one. Like, you know what I mean? But and then you got. Did you hear about? And I'm pretty sure you heard about what is it? I'm drawing a blank right now. The Alabama ex-coach Nick Saban. Okay, that he's met with Trump and they trying to like get in on the NIL deal. They trying to make it, I guess, limited or something like that. I feel like that they should stick their nose out of it, especially Trump or whatever. But I don't get that, man. I don't understand that. Like, why is he like, this ain't got nothing to do with you?
Well, I think Nick Saban is supposed to be the commissioner. I guess that's the way it's supposed to work. But and I got to take this other call for Ray.
No, good.
But you know what? They've already screwed college football up with the transfer portal and NIL.
Yeah.
And put no regulations in place. Now we see college football essentially. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But I think they should stay out of it. Straight up.
All right, USCJ, man. I ain't gonna hold you, man. I'm gonna stay tuned in though, man. Fight on. All
right, fam. Fight on. Ray, how you doing?
I'm doing good. What's up, Jay? How you feeling, brother?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. What's the word?
Okay, nice. So this is my feeling on it. If Notre Dame want to stay independent, let them be independent. But the league needs to make it tough to where we already know that the playoffs is going to come down to who? The Big Ten and the SEC, right? I think both conferences are going to be getting, what is it, 4 slots or 6 slots?
It's 4 slots, but they probably should make it, the fact that we have to play against each other in these interconference games, they probably should make it more. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I really think it should probably be maybe 6 or 8 slots that go to both teams, and the remaining 2 probably, or the last 2 probably can go to one from the ACC or the Big 12. But so what they should do with Notre Dame, you're not inside of a conference. You want to have your cake and eat it too. All right, you can't play. You can't be scheduled to play any teams that are in the Big Ten or the SEC. They should block them out that way. Force their hand.
No, that's a great.
You force their hand, because they just trying to get more money. They getting that MSNBC money, and then you want to go into the, if you eventually go to the Big Ten or SEC, you're gonna get more money. But I don't think, if you want to stay independent, but you shouldn't have the luxury of playing in the BCS national title. If anything, you should play in there. What's the other title for the other division?
Because you talking about, they only got, we don't have a BCS national title no more. We have the CFP, college football playoff. Yeah.
Okay, so you got the CFP, but what's the championship series that like North Dakota State be playing again?
Oh, you talking about that Division I AA. I can't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
I will force their hand to be like, okay, you don't want to play, you don't want to join the conference with us. You can't play within this conference. You can't play within this league. You got to play. You're only eligible for that other league. You can't play with us.
Look, they already lost against Northern Illinois, so that might be just right up their alley. But
exactly. I guarantee you, they'll feel like they champions when they play North Dakota State or South Dakota State.
That'd be cold-blooded. But
cold-blooded. They didn't say that. College football gonna really send a message to them. But that's how they gotta force their hand. Because it can't be like that. Let them. I don't see them going to the SEC no matter what, because I don't think they're gonna be legit enough to hang with the SEC. Because we've already seen.
But you're making a point. That's what I'm saying. Can you imagine? What do you think? And I want to know your opinion on this. Those who see the link, I just put the link in the chat. If they had to go to our schedule this year, say they had to open up with LSU. Say they had to open up LSU. You play Michigan. You play Penn State. You play Wisconsin. You play Minnesota. You play all these schools, UCLA. How do you think they would have came out this season?
I think they probably would have gone half the record that we had.
If they open up, because they already lost against Northern Illinois. So if they open up like that, I'm not going to necessarily say they would have had the record we had, because they were moving and grooving. You know, their offense was moving and grooving pretty good. But I do think they would have had maybe at least 3 losses. If they clearly lost. They clearly wasn't ready at the beginning of the season playing Northern Illinois. If they would have opened up with LSU, I'm sure LSU way better than Northern Illinois.
Well, I think they opened up playing against Texas A&M.
They did. And they won that game.
Yeah, but that was an ugly game too. It wasn't even.
It was a horrible game.
It was a horrible game. So I don't see them. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they should be even eligible for the college football playoffs, no matter what. Because didn't they get blown out against Alabama in one championship or BCS title game? Then they lost. Who did they lose to recently?
They won. They went all the way this year, though. I mean, they did beat Penn State in the playoff game, but they lost against they lost in the championship game. But I just think their schedule, the teams that they play throughout the season, it just makes it a lot more easier for them. And why should we have to have a tough schedule like that? And the fact that the Big Ten and the SEC is going to have these interconference scheduling, why should we have to suffer on, and Notre Dame, pretty much has a cakewalk?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. We shouldn't have to suffer that. We shouldn't. And they need to play some real competition. Like you said, they play easy cakewalk teams all the time. They might have 2 or 3 teams every year. That might be a Clemson or Florida State. If one of those 2 teams are really legit that they'll play against. Outside of that, then they might play one Big Ten team or one ACC team. SEC team, depending on who. And then most of the time when they play those ACC teams, a lot of those teams don't even be really legit like that.
Nah, man. North Carolina, all of these teams, but they get away with it. And, I think eventually it's going to happen. I've been talking, those who've been tapped in for a while, those who've been watching me for a while, I told you guys as soon as USC went to the Big Ten that Notre Dame was eventually going to be forced. Yeah, they got the TV deal with NBC, and that kind of stalled in a sense in the beginning, but they ended up getting a TV deal. But eventually, the way college football is going with the 2 power conferences and the scheduling, I just think eventually they're going to have to join somebody. And why would they join the ACC? To me, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Yeah. What you think?
Yeah, they should never join the ACC. They'll be the better team in that conference. No, everybody knows that.
By far.
But, I just don't see it. It just doesn't make sense. But them, I think the Big Ten should just take on Florida State, Notre Dame, North Carolina, and Virginia. Have them be a part of the Big Ten, and the rest of those teams go to the SEC. But I'm gonna say this before I get off. I think Notre Dame is gonna join the Big Ten maybe within the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I don't know if it's gonna be the Big Ten. They act like they're scared, but the fact that they're trying to choose the ACC just doesn't make any sense to me. But I think they're gonna be forced one way or another, whether it's the Big Ten or the SEC. My thing is they're only trying to delay the inevitable. So that's the way I see it right now. But hey, man, I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna take this other call, but I appreciate you, man. Hey, fight on. Brian, what's the word?
What's good, Jay? Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, man. Super clear.
Yeah. So this whole Notre Dame thing, man. It's unfortunate that it's happened because of the rivalry that's been going on for so long.
Yeah.
If I'm Notre Dame and I'm just looking at it from another perspective, with their TV deal, it really hasn't been forced to do anything. I think the other sports that they have joined the ACC, so that's probably more so the likely move for the football team to do it is to join the ACC. Everybody's going to try to schedule their make their schedules to be more beneficial, to get more guaranteed games or easier games so they can get into the playoffs. The SEC has been doing it for the longest. Just here recently, we've aligned ourselves to make the schedule somewhat easier for us. But, everybody's been getting away with it for the longest. So the easier path, they're going to, whatever advantage they can get with regards to the schedules, they're going to take it. But I hate to see the rivalry ending like that. That was one of the games that I look forward to. Every season. For SC behind it, but I guess this is a money move. It's a money move for Notre Dame. I can see them not wanting to be forced to join a conference because of that TV deal that they got.
Yeah. I agree with a couple things, and I think it's sad. Like, I think I made this statement a couple days ago when I made this video. Every Saturday afternoon growing up, I see my grandmother, man, watching, Notre Dame, USC. That it's a tradition for all of us, man. But at the end of the day, I think the landscape of college football, I think it's changed, man. It's changed so much to where, all the traditions and stuff has really essentially been thrown out the window. When you start having the transfer portal, when you start having NIL, like, tradition is like, we can just kind of forget about it. And not that you want to forget about it. I just think that they should have put some rules and regulations in place. Now we're starting to see a situation, and I think the other caller kind of brought that up, that you're going to start having almost like a commissioner. Nick Saban's going to probably act like a commissioner and kind of run college football. And we already know he kind of has his thoughts about how things should go anyway. But, the fact that you remember I did this video, Brian, about the SEC and the Big Ten Alliance, that alone told me then, you remember I did it about a year and a half ago, that SEC and the Big Ten Interconference Alliance, the fact that they did that, I knew that it was already, and I made a statement that Notre Dame their hand should be forced right then. So the fact that they did that, they're gonna have to be, they're gonna have to join somebody. And to me, the ACC, the fact that you had several teams from the ACC, whether it's North Carolina, whether it's Miami, whether it's Florida State, those teams alone already were seeking other opportunities to get out of the conference. You remember we talked about that on this channel, but they never did it. Florida State, it was all over the news. They were trying to get out of the contract with the ACC, but they had some kind of crazy 30-year deal or whatever. So it was
Florida State. It was Florida State and Clemson. They was trying to get out of it.
Right. So it's inevitable. I feel like they're trying to stop that, man. So they got to join one of the big boys, either the SEC or the Big Ten. That's kind of the way I see it. What you think?
Well, two quick comments. Starting with that whole Nick Saban thing. You know how I feel about the SEC, and I live in SEC country. As long as the SEC were the only teams that were able, especially the top tier teams, that were able to benefit from, stacking up these 4 or 5 star players, and he even bragged about Bryce Young having one of the highest NIL deals when it initially hit. He had no problem. He had no problem with it. So I see that's a whole a whole nother podcast topic in itself, the hypocrisy of Saban and the SEC. Another thing was, I never thought, going back to what you were saying about growing up watching Notre Dame and SC play, I never thought that I'd see the day that SC would lead the Pac-12. To be honest,
yeah.
But we also talked about on one of your shows that it shows who still held power on the West Coast, and it was USC. USC left the Pac-12, the whole conference folded.
Big facts.
The entire conference folded.
Facts.
For them to sit by, and I still feel some kind of way about the rest of the conference standing by and watching the NCAA do us the way that they did. Well, of course, you got to stand up for yourself at some point. But if you ever notice, no other SEC team sit around and allow the NCAA just to do whatever to their flagship programs. They're not going to do it. I wish that our conference, the Pac-12, had stood up for us, and maybe we would still be in that conference today and not have to do all of this travel.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I understand.
It's crazy.
At the end of the day, it's still a money play. So it's hard to turn down that type of money that the Big Ten was offering us to come join the conference. But with regards to Notre Dame, as long as they got that deal with NBC, I can see them, staying put as long as they can until their hands are just forced. The only way I can see them joining the conference is that the NCAA or the college football community just leaves them out of the playoff picture.
That's what I mean, though, B. When we're talking about the playoff situation, if we have these interconference alliance and they start judging the strength of schedule, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
They're going to start lining it up. Like, and we know that Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame earlier this season. But if they start lining this thing up and say, look, we're going to judge the schedule, and you got USC playing against LSU, you got Alabama playing against Michigan, you got all these teams playing against each other, and you telling me that Notre Dame's going to have an automatic no. A SEC team that has 3 losses or a Big Ten that has a 3 loss, those are going to be the teams that's going to have an opportunity to really get in. They have an opportunity to get into the Big Ten or the SEC. They choose to do otherwise based on their independence. So look, I think USC absolutely should play it the way they play it, but I think maybe offer them maybe 3 or 4 years opposed to just the 1 year that they're doing it. But that's the way they're doing it. Notre Dame wants 12 years. They want 1 year.
Well, I see the play the way Notre Dame trying to play it. The reason why they want a lifted contract like that, so they can still show that they got a powerhouse team on their schedule. USC is doing right to force their hand to join into a conference, because we're actually, to be honest, Jay, we're doing them a favor if we were to sign a long-term contract.
Because we're good. And here's the thing. I think Notre Dame, this is what I believe. I think Notre Dame, the fact that they put Clemson on their schedule for 12 years, I think they had a contingency plan. That was a contingency plan if they don't get USC. To me, they already had what they wanted to do in the back of their mind. And to me, that's shady. We're supposed to be a long-time rival. Let this deal get worked in first, opposed to you trying to do some backdoor stuff, some sneaky stuff, but then you want us to try to keep the deal at the same time. Come on, man. We can't. Come on. You can't do that.
So our administration, SC program is actually, making, it's a bold move, but I think it'll be better for us, because honestly speaking, with us being in Big Ten, it really doesn't do us any good to have Notre Dame on our schedule. If you want to be honest, we're actually doing them the favor by playing. If we were to sign a contract like that, which I wouldn't do it either unless they join a conference, they got to be like everybody else, man. They can't continue to skate by the way they've been skating by.
Yeah. I made that statement. I got to take this other call, B. But I made that statement once we joined the Big Ten. I felt like USC don't really need them. I felt, even though I love the tradition, don't get it twisted. People always like to twist words. I feel like USC doesn't need Notre Dame on their schedule. We got the better strength of schedule. Period.
Here's the thing, Jay, and I'm gonna leave out with this. Here's the thing, Jay, and I'm about to log off so you can get somebody else. SC has never ducked anybody. Go back and watch all of those SEC teams we played, especially during the Pete Carroll era. We just beat LSU this past season. We beat Texas A&M in the bowl game. These are supposedly the top tier, one of the top tier programs in the SEC. We played the Auburns, we played the Arkansas, we played the Alabama. Even though we didn't fare too well against Alabama, but we played them. SC has never ducked any smoke, but those other conferences have. Those other teams have.
But and the thing with the SEC, and I'm gonna let you go. I gotta take this. Hey, Brian, I appreciate it. Okay. I definitely appreciate it, fam. I'm gonna holler at you. And the thing about the SEC, they did schedule those powder puff schools, but now if this alliance goes through with the SEC and the Big Ten, hey, it's no more powder puffs for the SEC. They're gonna have to come with it day in and day out. Let me take this other call real quick. Christian, what's the word?
What's good, my brother?
Man, what's the word? How you doing?
Man, tired, man. They worked me long today, but I'm blessed, bro. Man, but I was gonna say, man, I would like to see the rivalry continue, but SC don't need it like Notre Dame needs it.
Facts.
I mean, I just it's 100 years, man, and I got friends that are Notre Dame fans, and it's like part of football. It's like taking the Rose Bowl away. You know what I mean? But we don't need them because of the schedule we're gonna have to play in the Big Ten. They need it because they don't have, since they're not in the conference, they don't have a strong strength of schedule. Every year, people are saying Notre Dame don't need to be in because they haven't played nobody. Right? They're gonna play the Air Force. They're gonna play the Navy. They're gonna play all those teams. So for years, we was that one shining object on their schedule that made them worth something if they beat SC. You know what I'm saying? So they need it more. They need it more than we do. For one, we have another rivalry on there, right? I mean, we still got UCLA, which is a big time rivalry. Like we don't have to have it. We can, but I would like to see it continue. But I hear a lot of people, even SC fans, Lincoln Riley needs to suck it up. Pete Carroll
This has
never ran
nothing,
from nobody.
bro.
It has
This has
nothing to
nothing
do
to
with
do.
Riley.
And they every time, you know what's crazy is they do it with recruiting. They do. We look. They still doing it with recruiting. We still have the #1 class, and then you probably came on late. You didn't hear. And I talked about we have the most blue chips right now. Just came out on 3. Put a post up about it today. And you cannot blame everything. Look, at the end of the day, I feel like Notre Dame it wants their cake and they want to eat it too, and it's not right. I think that
Right.
look, they're not more special than anybody else. And we talked about this. The alliance that's coming with the Big Ten and the SEC is going to make it extremely more difficult for us to go through a season. And so, why should Notre Dame have to go through that same type of strength of schedule? Why shouldn't they have to go through that same pain that we're going through? You know, we're gonna have guys. You know, guys get injured when you play more physical type football, and I think Notre Dame has to be subject to that as well. So
And
yeah,
one thing I don't like what I'm hearing USC fans say is that Riley don't want to play a tough out of conference schedule and ducking, and he's bringing in pop. This is all I'm gonna say. If you look at Alabama, you look at the SEC, you look at Ohio State, look at the teams that they're playing year after year out of conference.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
it's the same. It's set up the same
And
way, but
it's been like that.
but we give them a pass. Well, you don't, and we don't. But people give the SEC a pass because they say, well, when you play the SEC schedule the way that you got to play it, then you deserve to have those games. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
their excuse for not having a tough. But that can't fold because we went head to head the Big Ten with the SEC last year, and we had double the wins they had.
And we 2-0 versus the SEC. So it's a lot of
Yeah,
things that a lot of
USC.
people could say. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of things
Yeah,
that a lot of people could say. So it
and I
is
had a
what it is, man.
And I had a conversation with some SEC fans just on chat on other people's things as they were talking craziness. I said it's very funny. It's very funny that when it comes to NIL recruiting and all that, it's Jen Cohen and Chad. Y'all get them all the praises. Anytime something go bad, it's Lincoln Riley. What makes
Well,
y'all think that Lincoln Riley has the power to pick the schedule and
well,
say that we not gonna play this or do that? That comes down to athletic directors and the university. So how is it you guys praise Jen Cohen and praise
that's
Bowden when
why.
everything is good, but as soon as something bad is Lincoln Riley needs to do this. It looks like
They're
come
crazy.
on.
Hey, they're crazy. Even with recruiting, I gotta let you go because I gotta take another call. But look, even with the recruiting, I told everybody last year we got the guys, we got Isaiah Gibson, we got all these guys. We recruited well. They just didn't have structure in place. Now we got structure. Now we're seeing different results. But hey, nobody want to talk about that though. Nobody want to come and confess and say, look, maybe we did recruit well. Maybe we did do what we had to do. Yes, we had to refocus and recruit California. But at the end of the day, they were recruiting, whether they liked it or not. So anyway, I'm gonna take this other one, Christian. I appreciate you, man.
All right, my brother. Be blessed, brother.
Okay, all right, fight on. All right, let me. Okay, it dropped. Wow, call dropped. Anyway, I got to get up. I got to go to bed super early. I got to get up super early. You guys know I work. I do work. But let me answer some of these calls. Hey, so the sports biz. Thank you for the super chat. I want to get to some of them real quick before I get up out of here. Fight on, my man, all the way from Hawaii. Fight on. I'm gonna get to a lot of these comments real quick before I get out of here. You guys put your comments in here, and being independent is dying thing. Yeah, the importance of conferences grows. Yes, and the strength of schedule. They can't continue to get the powder puff. What do you think about Nelson being number? Wow, I did not know he was. I thought he got the #1 job, man. Well, here's what I think, man. Here's what I think. I'm not into the bashing of guys, and every guy that earned the scholarship. I think they're doing a lot more than a lot of people. However, I think it appears to be he appears to be overrated. Now, I've talked to some people about it, man. But look, salute to Malachi, man. Get your education, man. He just don't got it, man. I guess he just doesn't have it. He didn't have it at Boise State. He didn't have it at USC. No disrespect to him. And now he's backing up at I think it's Texas San Antonio. UTEP. it's kind of it is what it is. Do I think it's sad? No. I think Malachi had opportunity to do a lot of things that a lot of people don't do in their lifetime, which is to play football and have a scholarship and go places that most people don't go. He got recruited by one of the best quarterback coaches in the country, which he apparently seen something in him. But however, look, it just didn't pan out, man. So look, man, salute to Malachi. I hope he gets that degree, and I hope that NIL money, I hope he say that. Why don't Notre Dame go play Bama week 1? Because the SEC. Yeah, hey, but all that's about to end, though. All of that is about to end. Let's see. I'm going to get to some of these comments, and I got to get out of here. Did I see? Let's see. Let me get to some of these comments real quick. Hey, Christian, I just now saw this. Hey, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. What's up with everybody talking about Malachi Nelson in a second? Hey, man, salute to Malachi, man. Hey, I don't have anything negative to say about him at all. Coaches get paid. Teams do. I want players to get paid too. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thank you for the super chat. Red the Wise. Watch Jay Notre Dame ready and drop without having USC. Yeah, absolutely. And they're excuse me. And they're scheduled for a prime time game. Yes, I totally agree with that. Thank you for the super chat. This is the first year I can remember where our quarterback room is probably our weakest link going into the season 93 or 84. I think it's going to be better than what you think. I think we're going to be straight, man. Hey, salute to you as well. There will be some kids that fall off the train, just like with every school. Yeah, totally agree. So, look, man, I just wanted to come on for a minute, talk about the Notre Dame USC thing. I think Notre Dame is I think their hands should be forced to join the conference. I think that they want their cake and eat it too, and it's going to happen eventually. So, look, man, I'm out of here, man. Salute to everybody that came on. Just wanted to drop on for maybe 45 minutes. We've accomplished that. So, look, I'm out of here until later on. Listen, no video in the morning. No video in the morning. This video should carry over. Until later on, fight on, fight on, fight on.